Good morning, everyone, and you join me again out in the field. And yet again, we're out with the big challenger who is soloing away in this field. But to be fair, it's a little bit wet. But we had started this field before the rain hit today, although the clouds are breaking away. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it won't be too long before the rain does pass. We keep getting sort of passing showers, but as you can see, the Challenger is well muddy. Yeah, so we're out in the field today, and as I say, the mud is sticking quite a bit to the machine and to the tractor as well. So it's not going quite so well in this field as it was the others. But as I say, we had started, and the plan is that these three, as soon as it does dry off a little bit, we want to get them drilled. The spring barley's going in here. So there's a field where those two trees are, the field in the middle, and then this field, which is a slightly bigger one. But yeah, so I just thought as I was passing that I would just quickly show you again the tractor, well, the Challenger soloing, Ruben yet again on the Challenger, and doing a very, very good job. But as I say, it's a bit smeary today, and that's just because it's a little bit wet. I'm out in my new Challenger. So you remember in the last video, last update, that I said I was thinking about buying a third Challenger. Well, we've gone out and we've bought a third Challenger. We've done a little bit of a deal with AGCO and the local dealership. And between the three of us, we've managed to come up with quite a good little deal. But I'm just wondering whether to take those legs out. To take that, because the thing is, when you're subsoiling, it doesn't really work as well when the ground's wet. Like I say, it doesn't work as well when the ground's soft. The ground needs to be hard, really. Because the original sort of name to subsoiling was pan busting. Now the reason it was called pan busting is because you would have a machine that certainly in the 80s when I was growing up, maybe even into the 90s, you would have a machine on the back called a pan buster, and basically subsoil legs, what we today refer to as a subsoiler. But back in, as I say, the 80s and 90s, it was called a pan buster, and the idea was it went down 12 to 14 inches, deeper if you had the horsepower, but 12 to 14 inches, and what it did was it busted the pan below the surface, which just meant that it basically opened a channel where the water could drain into, and then the water could then drain off into either the land drains if you had them, or at least run downhill and escape at the end of the field. That was genuinely the idea, and it's still the idea today, and it works absolutely fine. Most of our soils here are well drained, so flooding is not really an issue as such on our fields. We get a couple of fields that sometimes get a bit of water damage, but nothing too dramatic. But when it's soft, what happens is that the legs, they'll have they have what on the legs themselves, they have what's called shins, and those shins are sort of almost pointed at an angle, and they push and prise the soil open. And the idea is, because the soil is hard, the soil can't fall back in, so it pushes it open, leaves a channel, and as I've said, the water drains away. But when it's soft, what happens is those shins still push the soil apart, so it still prizes it open the same. But because the water is soft, because the ground, is soft, it's able to then sort of fold back in on itself. So what it's doing is essentially it's closing back up the channel that you've already made, more nearer the surface than underneath. But there's no point having a channel underneath if the surface is closed, because the water can't get in the first place. So you need the top channel or the top half of the channel to be open for it to have any effect. So I'm just wondering whether we would be better taking the subsoiler legs out and then out of the work, because they're on rams, and they're on what's called a two-way ram. So essentially, as you can see, they're on rams there. So what happens is if the leg hits something underneath that's really hard, say a tree root or a rock or whatever, but whatever's buried under there, what happens is that ram gets activated as soon as it touches something that it can't move. The ram flips back and it chucks the leg up out of work, and it stops the leg from shearing and from sort of breaking and snapping. But the good thing about, because it is a two-way ram, we could lift the ram out and lock it into place, and that would lock the legs up in the air. And I'm just wondering whether or not to do that, because it's, as I say, it's not really leaving a channel as such. It's it's kind of, as I say, it's smearing it really. I mean, if the rain carries on for much longer, we're going to have to stop anyway. Just because we are going to have to stop, because, as I say, the soil is sticking. Once the soil starts sticking to stuff, it's generally sort of what can I say, machinery's way of telling you it's too wet. And I'm just beginning to, I mean, the top surface isn't sticking too badly to those front discs at the moment, but at the back here is where it's sort of turned it over and subsoiled it. It is sticking quite a bit more, so I don't know really what to make of it. Yeah, I don't know whether it would be best to leave it out. I mean, I have spoken to my dad this morning, but about this, but he says for now we keep going, just because, as I say, it is doing a reasonably good job, but I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll leave it there. We'll leave Ruben going, and we'll let him get on with it, because we're going to be in the way. But yeah, so I was saying about the Challenger, we've done a little bit of a deal. Now, the plough we've borrowed. The plough is not ours, or not ours yet anyway. We've borrowed it off a neighbouring farm, and we're wondering whether or not we're going to actually purchase the plough or not. But as I say, we'll just let Ruben turn around. But yeah, the Challenger, we've done a bit of a deal with he would always want to come down where I am, wouldn't he? Mr. Awkward. But yeah, so as I say, we've done a bit of a deal with AGCO and the local dealership, and thankfully they've treated us very well with this, and it's a little bit of compensation for the trouble and problems that we've had with the combine, because although the combine was second hand, we did buy it from the AGCO dealer, and it's supposed to come assured that everything's okay with it, but clearly it isn't. And I'm about to go and show you the last two fields of wheat that we were doing, and I'm going to show you why it's not so great. It's not good. The rape's okay at the moment, but I'm worried about the amount of rain that we are getting. At the moment, there doesn't seem to be too much in the way of pigeon damage, but it has just come through. And flea beetle at the moment, again, doesn't seem to be too bad. I have no idea what it's like down the bottom end of the field, but at this top end, it doesn't seem to be too bad. I mean, there's some weeds, coming through, some black grass, which is that one, and then I did see some ryegrass in here as well, which is that one. So the one that side, the darker green, is ryegrass, and then the one that's a bit lighter is blackgrass, and then this is some knotweed that I forget the actual name to. So yeah, it's coming through, but it's not a problem. As soon as the rain sort of eases off, roughly sort of, we probably need 2 or 3 hours. as soon as the rain has sort of just dried up enough for us to travel, we'll come in here and spray this anyway. So it's not a huge a huge problem, but so far so good on the flea beetle and on the pigeon damage, which obviously is our two biggest worries at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in regards to that. But yeah, so we're going to take you over to the last two wheat fields that we did, and I'll meet you there. Right, so I'm out in that wheat field that I was telling you about. This was the last field that we had to combine. We did start this field. We got the headlands took off, and we were starting to do the middle of the field, and the rain came in. It's now probably halfway through week 1 of October, the first week of October, and we were combining this, as you remember in the last episode, at the last week of September. Funnily enough, at the end of that video, I think I did say that it was looking dark over the horizon, but we were fairly sort of confident that from how dark it looked a long way in the horizon, that we probably would get this field finished. Now, the rain came within probably about an hour and a half. As I say, we got the headland off. The rain came within about an hour and a half, and we had to stop, which wasn't too bad. Then we got the combine back up to the road, and we decided that we would come back, either the next day or the day after, and we would, carry on once it was dry again, because we didn't think we were going to get that much rain. Now, it rained for 3 nights, for 3 days on and off, so quite sort of hard rain periods, usually lasting anywhere between sort of an hour, hour and a half to a couple of hours, and then we'd get a little bit of a break. Now, as you can see, I'm in the straw now. You can see that the ears that are still on there, they have pretty much emptied onto the ground, and they're no good. But you can also see, and this is the ideal place, you can also see some black in the crop as well, some little black lines where it bends over with the crop. Now that's a disease called ergo, or ergo, depending on where you're from and how you pronounce it. Now, this, as we've said before, is milling wheat, and when we were harvesting this field off, taking off the headlands, and we was going to the dryer, we were obviously putting it into the dryer, and we were just drying it off just a little tad more. But while I was at the dryer, we obviously the dryer gives us samples. So it gives us a sample when it goes in, and then a sample halfway through, and then a sample at the end, so that we can basically see, is there anything in there, what's the moisture, what's the protein quality, what's the grain quality, what's the weight, the bushels, and all of that. It's to help us to sort of, to decide what we really want to do with the crop. And we notice these little black seeds, and they're very similar to anyone that has seen mice poos will know what I'm talking about. So they're little tiny sort of black slithers that look a lot like mice poo, and we noticed quite a lot of that in the dryer. So when the trailers started to come into the yard to dip, I was stopping them and taking scoops of grain from front, middle and back of the trailer, and they had these little black little seeds in them. Now, ergo is a disease that you get in wheat. Usually comes in wheat that has either over ripened or has an ear fungus that you don't, or that forms after the last time you spray it. So there is a cut-off period from when we can spray the wheat to harvest the wheat. It's usually about sort of 14 to 16 days between. Well, 10 to 14 days is probably more accurate. We tend to combine anywhere after the 10-day mark. If we've sprayed it off with Roundup or glyphosate or anything like that, we tend to leave it roughly about 10 to 12 days. But anything, sort of after that 10-day period is safe. But as I say, so this black, so the basically the little black mice poos, if you like, are grains of wheat that have turned black, and they've been infected with this fungus, and that's what makes them go black and kind of shrivel up a little bit. And they have a really sort of not that I've ever tried one, but I've been well informed because I don't recommend eating it. I've been well informed that they taste very aniseedy, and it when swallowed, it turns to a hallucinogenic drug in the body system, and it sort of kind of trips you out for a little while. So it's not good, and they definitely don't want it in the milling wheat. When you take it to the mill. Now, if there is any in the trailer, when you take it to the grain mill to obviously be turned into flour for bread, the load will get rejected and you will get penalised. It's usually anywhere between 20 and £50 a tonne on that trailer. So if you think that all of our wheat will go to the mill via lorries, so each lorry will have 30 tonne on, and that will have 30 tonnes of wheat on. So if you're being penalised, £50 a tonne, and you're taking, well, 20 to £50 a tonne, but we'll say £50 a tonne because it's never really ever 20. We've never been docked £20 per tonne on our milling wheat. We've had it before. It's fairly common. I mean, there are ways of getting it out of the wheat. You could take it to a grain hospital. I know that sounds very funny, but PX Farms in Cambridgeshire, they have a grain hospital, and we have been known in the past to send our grain there. And there, at a cost, they will clean the grain and make sure that they take everything that shouldn't be in that grain out of that grain. And the good thing about them is, yes, it is, it's an expense that you don't want. But the good thing about PX Farms is that they then guarantee that grain, and when they take it to the mill on your behalf, they'll take it back to the mill. If that load, for whatever reason that they take back, gets rejected, they take it back to their grain hospital, they clean it again, but anything after that first clean is on their expense. So it costs them money. So they guarantee that when they take it, it will not be rejected. And if it is, it's on their expense and not our expense, because it is quite expensive to run the grain through there. So that's just one of many firms that you can take it to. There are other firms, but as I say, we've used them all really. But PX Farms probably we would say is the best one. But yeah, so that's what the black is in the grain. We've lost this field now. I mean, this field has gone, it's all the way along, and as I say, most of the ears have now shredded the grain, and it's not a lot of good. So we're just going to plough this in. As for the straw, we'll wait to see whether or not it does dry out, to whether we bale it, because we've got this field to do as well. So we just didn't get here in time. We did manage to get the other field finished, and we did also manage to get all of the bales off that field and those two other fields stacked up. The bales have all gone as soon as we literally put out the the sort of advert of they were Heston bales at £2 a bale, and available for anyone to sort of kind of pick up on their own. They were gone. So it's about I think about a day and a half, and all of the bales that we baled from all of our wheat fields that we stuck down there. There was a massive, massive, massive pile or stack of bales, and yeah, they just went. As you can see, we did get a little bit of baling in this field done, but not a huge amount. And that must be a bale that I missed. But yeah, so we, as I say, it's this field, that field, and then the one down there. But the others we did get baled, but we just didn't quite get fully this way across. But yeah, so a wet day though it is, we're still take harvesting, and I'll meet you down there. I haven't got the drone with me today, so it will be just a case of a little walk in the field, a little walk in the field, and just have a quick look at the machinery. But I'm going to be working in that field because we're gonna plough it, just because obviously the rain has come, the wheels are starting to rut up the field, and we need it ploughed and levelled off so that we can actually plant wheat in there, because wheat's going to go in there. Our linseed is looking absolutely fantastic. I have two main concerns with this linseed. One is that the rain's going to carry on. I mean, it looks pretty dark again out on the horizon, um, and that's the direction the wind is coming from, so it's pushing that cloud this way. But yeah, so my main concern is that it's just going to continually get rained on, and eventually it's going to flatten down. Linseed doesn't tend to flatten too badly or too much, but if it gets enough wind and rain and stuff like that, it will flatten down, and then it will become almost impossible for us to pick up with our combine. And my other main concern is because it looks a fantastic crop. We're really hopeful that this crop's going to, these three fields here, there's this field here, field next door, and then there's a field down there at the back of this field that is linseed as well. And our main, as I say, our main concern is that we're going to lose this as well. And obviously our concern is also whether the combine's going to be reliable enough to pick it up, and also whether it's going to be sunny enough to harvest it, because linseed is near on impossible to harvest without sun. If the sun doesn't, if it's cloudy, you've got next to no chance of doing a good job. You have to go so slowly because the header just can't feed it. As soon as the sun comes out, the header can feed it fine. But so we are concerned, and we're concerned because they look three absolutely brilliant fields of linseed. But anyway, I'll join you again when we're in the potato field. And by the time you do come back, I probably will hopefully have got a little bit of ploughing done by then. So yeah, I'll see you then. Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday morning, and as you can see, we are out in the big Challenger, and we have got the plough on. So the last update that I did, which was yesterday, we had the new Challenger that we had. I didn't really talk too much about that Challenger, so when we get back to the yard, which it won't be long before we are back there, I will just give us a little bit of a walk around and show us that Challenger. But yeah, I'm out in the big one today. Ruben has gone off potato carting just for the morning until Ray gets done with his pigs, and then when Ray gets back to work, Ruben will go on to the plough then. And as I say, we're getting some of our winter ploughing done, just ready for obviously for spring drilling. Excuse me. And yeah, just ready for spring drilling. So yeah, I thought I would bring you out into the field with me for a second, or just for a little bit of a ride around. But we'll have a look at the plough. So it's a Dablo 8 furrow plough, and reversible, an Ermo, but it's made by the Dablo group, but it's an Ermo plough. And say 8 for reversible on supporting frame. It's currently set at the offset setting at the moment. Excuse me. And yeah, currently set on the offset, which basically, for those that don't know, means, as you can see from the Challenger, we're running just on top of the surface rather than in the furrow. So if we were to have that what's called inline, all that means is basically that ram pulls the front furrow that you see here and pulls it into the plough, and then we'd be able to plough in the furrow. Now we would plough in the furrow if it was too wet to travel on top. We had a bit of rain yesterday, but by sort of early afternoon that rain dissipated and cleared off. Excuse me again. And you know, it's terribly unprofessional. I probably should stop recording when that happens, but unfortunately got a bit of a tickle at the moment. Yeah, so as I was saying, so if it was wet, we would plough in the furrow, which gives us a little bit more traction, because obviously as the plough's going through the ground, it turns it over, and what it turns over, it leaves a furrow behind for the next pass. And that furrow, in theory, as long as it isn't torrential rain, but in theory is dry and firm enough for the tractor to then travel on to go back in the direction that it's come from. Now the tractor will get all of its drive from the two wheels that are in the furrow, so the wheels on top, because if you can think, the tractor would be tipped over slightly, so the wheels on top, what happens is, especially in the new vents, the Vario grip, you know, one of the big advantages to the Vario grip is that it's independent drives on the wheels. So if the right hand wheels realise that the left hand wheels have far more grip and far more drive, what they'll do is they'll transfer all of the power from the right hand side of the tractor over to the left hand side tractor to give it even more you know, drive and pulling power. So the new vents are very, very good. Now our Massey Fergusons don't have that, unfortunately. They are just standard sort of four-wheel drive, if you like. But the new Vario grips on the vents, they will transfer the power wherever the power is either needed or where it is most efficient, and so it makes it very good. And of course, alternatively, if the right hand side of the tractor started to slip, the left hand side could then give that tractor, you know, power back to those wheels to keep them wheels gripping and turning. So it's all very, very good. But as I say, I'm sure you've all seen a plough 1,000 times before, watching all of the other farming YouTube channels, but just to quickly run through it. So as you can see, we've got the moldboard here, which is the breastplate, or you know, it's sort of called many different things in many different places, and that goes into the ground, as you can see with the ones here at the bottom. So that goes into the ground, and that just turns the soil over and pushes it up against what you've already ploughed, and that helps. I mean, you know, this is sort of relatively light land. It's a little bit heavier here on the hill, and just the other side of the hill, but this side of the field, as you come down this way, it does get a little bit lighter and it does get a little bit easier. As you'll know, this is the potato field, the first potato field that we harvested this year in here, and I came yesterday with the new Challenger and an 8 furrow reversible mounted plough, and didn't get on very well. One of the things with Challengers is, or with these tractors, is that they will pull anything through, pretty much anything. And what happened was, we borrowed the plough because we were thinking about buying it, and a little way over here, I'd probably got about roughly this far in, probably here somewhere, and as I say, the Challengers have an extraordinary amount of power, and I pulled the headstock off. which is not good because it wasn't our plough. But as I say, we were thinking about buying that plough, and one of the reasons why we kind of said to a local farmer, it's Wold Farm actually, that we were going to buy the plough off, that we wanted to try it was because we didn't think that it was strong enough for our Challenger. He'd had it on the back of an 8R John Deere wheeled version, and they're a little bit different to a Challenger. And like I say, we didn't pull it clean off, but yeah, we did significant damage to it. So we're sort of currently, we don't want the plough obviously, but we're currently sort of trying to negotiate a bit of a deal to help him with the repairs. But yeah, so we've had to switch over to the bigger Challenger and this plough. But as I say, Ruben has now done all of the soloing that we're going to do, certainly for now, because it's come too wet really to carry on with soloing. As I say, you need to do that job in the dry. And while he's over at Tate harvesting, which is going to be there now for another couple of hours or so, I thought I'd come out here and get on and finish this field of ploughing, and say we've got this to do. Now, as I say, I was talking about the moldboards, so as you can see they're in the ground and they turn over. Now, these little moldboards at the front are called skimmers, and whilst on this potato land, not quite as essential, if you like, but basically what skimmers do, and it's best to show you in stubble fields really, where they kind of come into their own. But what they do is they go ahead of this big breastplate, or the big furrow, if you like, and basically, as its name suggests, it skims the surface and just turns all of the surface trash and the first sort of inch of soil over into the furrow, into that furrow that's open, for the bigger plates to then, the bigger breast plates, and for us to then bury. They're burying sort of all of it, but ahead of them are skimmers, which are just making it slightly easier for them to work. But the main reason and advantage of having them is it does scoop and skim all of the top trash off, chuck it into the furrow, and then the furrows behind just come along and bury everything. And obviously what we're looking to do this time of year, we're looking to any blackgrass seeds, any ryegrass seeds, any other seeds that may be on the field, because this field's going to come wheat. We're looking to bury them as deep as we can. So we're currently ploughing at about 10 inches. It is varying slightly across the field, but that's that's not unusual, and that's sort of okay. But in some places it is sinking to 10.5 to 11 inches, but as a rule we're about 10 inches. That's what the plough's set to anyway. It's a good plough, this actually. We bought it new, I think it was not last year, the year before, and we really like it. And as I say, it's a really good strong build, very well put together. And our Challenger, unlike the other ploughs that we've had on it, as of yet hasn't pulled it apart. But we will not speak too soon on that one. But as I say, it's a very strong plough. It's very good. And yeah, to be fair, this land is ploughing over quite nicely. I say the rain softened it up, because what we were originally planning to do was to come down here and solo this as well. But when soloing it, we were going to drill straight behind it, but yeah, that's not going to happen now, because as I say, the rain that we had yesterday and the day before and the day before that has put pay to that idea. So we're ploughing it over, and then as I say, Ruben will go on to the tractor and he'll carry on ploughing all of our winter ploughing, and then I'll go and sort out the potatoes. I've also got, hopefully, fingers crossed, at some point today, Stephen's going to come and lift, at the very least, lift one of our fields of sugar beet, but hopefully both. Normally we wouldn't be too worried about not getting, both fields off. I mean, we could only get 2 fields in. Originally this was going to be sugar beet as well, but we just didn't quite get it drilled in time. We got this one drilled and the other one down there drilled before the rain, and then the rain came again in the spring, and we just didn't quite get it thingied, and sort of it. This field does grow nice potatoes anyway, so we sort of quickly changed our mind with this field, and drilled it with, or planted it with, the potatoes, and we've had a decent crop. That shed is for a little field. That shed is quite is much deeper in potatoes than what we thought it would be, as I say, for such a small field. But so yeah, just thought I'd quickly show you the plough and sort of give you a little talk around, the skimmers and the moldboards. I mean, the moldboards are fairly self-explanatory, but the skimmers, not so many people know sort of what they do or what their job is, but their job is just to skim the top trash off and put it into the furrow, and then behind the bigger plate, these points, we changed them round at the end of last year's ploughing, so we're hoping that we should get, at the very least, this autumn out of it. But we tend to find out here the land's not that stony, so you're looking at probably I would say between 3 and 5 years. Certainly at the end of 5 years we would change the breastplates, but sort of 3 to 5 years depending. But and also as well, it depends on how much ploughing we do. If we get a dry year, we don't do that much ploughing. We tend to solo it all. But if we like last year and this year, bit of a wetter year, then we'll plough most of the field, and obviously that wears them out quicker as well. And the skimmers, they will go sort of 5 to 7 years, because they're not moving nowhere near the amount of, or the volume of soil that the main ones are moving. So yeah, but anyway, I just thought I'd show you around the tractor and plough. So a bit later on we'll put the drone up in the air, and we'll get some pictures of them tatey harvesting, and hopefully as well Stephen will come with the sugar beet harvester today, and we will get some sugar beet footage as well, hopefully. But we'll see on that. But anyway, as for now, I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you again later. Right, so here I am out in one of the fields that's coming winter barley, and we've got the headland. Well, I've got the headlands drilled now, and about to go up and down the field. But I just thought I'd bring you in here just to show you what's going on. So as I say, we've drilled the headlands. Mainly because I haven't really got anyone to come back and lift them up. So once I've trod on them and sort of press them down a little bit, normally what we would do is if we would do the middle of the field first, we would then get the cultivator. We'd have a cultivator either in the same field or a field away, and he'd just come back and sort of fluff back up the headlands for me. But I haven't got anyone; they're all out busy at the moment. So because I haven't got anyone, I'm having to drill the headlands first. But so we're out here, as I say, in the barley field. Now we're growing a 2-row variety, and the name at this moment in time escapes me. Bear with me 1 second while I think of it. Oh yeah, that's it. No need to to pause the recording and go and look on the sheet in the tractor. No, it's a Buccaneer. That's what we're growing. It's a 2-row variety. It's a malting barley, and as I say, it's a two-row variety. We did sort of kind of contemplate doing a 6-row hybrid. We've seen quite a few farms, not only on YouTube but also out in this area that are growing the 6-row hybrids. But Buccaneer is something that we've grown a lot, and we kind of have got to the situation where we're thinking, why go away from what we know? We know that Buccaneer works. We know that we get a good yield from it, and year on year on year, it doesn't let us down. Even this year, with the weather that we've had from last autumn to harvest this year, and a very late harvest as well. Although it wasn't nowhere near the yield that it was last year, it was still very good given the circumstances that the crop had to perform in. But so I just thought I'd do a little look around. So as you can see, we've got a bit of a different seed drill at the minute. We've got the Verdestat Spirit 900S, which basically just means it's a 9-meter drill. So we're just trying this out. I've said before when we was drilling the rapeseed that the Lemkin for me has probably an underlying problem, which is that for some reason or other, the N2 coulters seem to be drilling the seed away from the coulters next to it, and because of this, because there is this discrepancy, it's mounding it up. Now, overall, when we come in and roll it, you flatten it out anyway, so it's not a huge issue as such. But when you look down the rows of the crop, say like when the barley starts to come through, you will see a gap each side of a 6-meter width. Each side of that 6-meter, there is a, sort of right on the edge of that, there is a gap. And I'm not a fan of the drill anyway. To be fair, it was a drill that we kind of bought blind. It came recommended from someone on YouTube, so I don't believe everything that you hear on YouTube would be my advice. But so we wish we'd gone with the Verdestat that everyone kind of told us that we should go with. This Verdestat, as I say, I've had it in this field. This is the first field of barley that I've drilled, or that's being drilled winter barley, and I've got those 2 fields there. It's basically where I think yesterday I showed you Reuben solo in these. So yeah, it was a little bit wet yesterday, but we've had a decent day today. The sun's been out. It's a bit cloudy now, but the sun was out earlier, and it's just dried the top off enough for me to come in and drill. And to be fair, looking behind what the drill's already done, it's leaving an absolute gorgeous seed bed. So the seed should do really well here. Again, pigeons and whatnot have got to be monitored. But yeah, again, another field that's kind of away really from any trees. So again, we will get a bit of pigeon damage, but we shouldn't get too much. But yeah, so that's the drill. As I say, it's borrowed at the minute. So a farm down the road. I say down the road in Beverley, so it's about give or take about 14 miles away. We are quite friendly, and they came. You remember from either the last update or the update before, they came and did our sunflowers for us. They're currently potato harvesting the same as we're potato harvesting at the moment, and they've also got their carrots and their red beets to or beetroot to harvest, and so they're not actually drilling at the moment. And so I've kind of sort of asked them, very kindly, could I please have a go with your Verdistat to make an informed decision? And they have agreed, and that's what we're doing. So this is the Challenger. It's an MT775E, rated at 435 horsepower. It's a special edition one, which, after the problems that we've had with the excuse me, with the Massey Ferguson combine that we've got, we said to Adco that we were in the market for a new Challenger. Now this isn't brand new, this is an ex-demo, and you can tell that by the fact that the tread on these tracks have quite badly worn, something that I didn't actually realise or when we went and had a look at it. So we're going to need some new tracks on there. Yeah, so I say it's a 435 horsepower tractor, special edition because it's got the Viper decaling on the bonnet and the bodywork. Very good. I mean, not really too dissimilar to the Challenger that we've already got. It's slightly more horsepower than, not the big one, but the I think that one's a 765 if I remember correctly. Which is 382 horsepower, I think it is. So yeah, it's a little bit more horsepower than that one, but it's just for me to use when I've got the drilling to do, because should it come wet, we'll obviously have Ruben on the plough, George or Ray on the power, and then me on another one with the combination drill. Which we're looking to get a new one. That Amazon is not the best. It was an old drill. We tidied it up, made it look nice, but it doesn't matter how pretty you paint something that doesn't work properly. It's not going to work properly. So we're looking at our main drill to maybe be in this, or if we do go over to CTF, which is controlled traffic farming, then we might be looking for a 12-metre drill. We're still going to drill on 36-metre tram lines. Very happy with the sprayer that we've got, and so I'm not sort of deviating from that. And yeah, so a 12-metre drill would be more preferable than a 9-metre drill, just because obviously 36-metre tram lines, it means that we will travel 3 times in between the tram lines and then on the tram lines, but those 3 times in between we'll be able to have them in exactly the same positions all the time, because what we'll do is everything else then will become 12 metres that can be, so cultivators, like I say, seed drill and different things like that. So all of the things that were then able, combine headers, we will look for a 12-metre combine header. We think we've come to a decision with the Massey Ferguson, and we do think that the Massey Ferguson is going to have to go. We can't have a repeat of what we've had this year. I'm not 100% blaming the combine. Definitely not blaming the manufacturers. We run their tractors. The tractors are fantastic. The combine, to be fair, the first couple of years we had it was very good. but these last sort of 2 or 3 years, not so good. 2 years probably the worst 2 years. So we are looking at a new combine. We've got our linseed to harvest. We're hoping to get a one of our neighbours or a neighbouring farm to come in and do it for us, because they've got a combine that we're quite interested in. So they've got a Lexion 6600 and we quite like the look of that combine, and we would like them to. We've kind of sort of put out a bit of a message to them and said, like, you know, would you be willing to come and combine our linseed for us, you know, and you know, at the same time we can sort of demo the combine a little bit and have a good look, and you know, they can give us their thoughts on it, and you know, sort of go from there. So that's kind of where we're at the minute. I haven't heard anything, and I'm not going to say too much about it at this moment in time, just in case either they don't get back to me, which is very rare that happens, but you know, sometimes, and it could just be nothing more than they're busy themselves, you know. So don't sort of never read too much into it. But yeah, so we've put, as I say, we've messaged them, and hopefully, you know, they'll get back to us, and we'll be able to. They'll be able to come and do the linseed for us, and we'll be able to have a look at their combine. Now, just very quickly, because I am going to end this week's video here, and then because the rest of this week is going to be pretty much, you know, sort of what we're doing now. So there isn't going to be too much in the way of new stuff to see or whatever. And Stephen didn't come today with the sugar beet. He's busy elsewhere, so hence the reason why I'm now getting on with the drilling. I did say to him, if he could have told me that in the morning, if he knew in the morning that he wasn't coming, if he could have told me, because I could have got on with other stuff, because I was hanging around thinking that I was probably going to have to drive a tractor and trailer, but as it is, as I say, he can't make it, so I've come out. It's late Tuesday now, and well, it's early evening. It's about 4 o'clock, and I've come out now to do a little bit of to do a little bit of winter barley. Sorry, and as I should have these 3 fields sort of near enough done by the time nightfall comes. So, you know, I need to get on. But the one thing that I did want to show you, and just for those of you that wonder, I mean, there'll be plenty of you that know this anyway, and what have you. So that's fine. But one thing, as I say, that I just wanted to show you was, so we're in, as you know, we're in this field planting the winter barley, and I always say, when you're out in a field drilling, look for a straight edge and just go from there. This field doesn't have it does have a straight edge, to be fair. The headland at the far end there, just where you can see those 2 trees poking over the horizon, that is a straight edge, but that doesn't make the field very convenient to drill. It's much easier to drill it this way, and if we do go on to CTF, this is the way that I want the field drilled. So I'm kind of, even though we haven't officially started it, I'm kind of starting to try to get things implemented. It isn't going to be implemented overnight. It's going to take a few years to implement fully and properly. You know, we can't just go out and buy a whole load of machinery at 12 meters. It isn't going to work. So we're looking at a phase in over the next 10 years, phasing controlled traffic farming in. But as I say, it's not just going to be an overnight thing. But anyway, so yeah, with the CTF, this is the way that I would drill it and want it drilled. So we're kind of sort of starting now with drilling it this way. But as I say, I haven't got a straight edge. So you have 2 choices. You can either create a straight edge down one side of the field, whichever side of the field you pick, it doesn't matter, either or. And with GPS, you can then sort of draw a straight line straight through and then fill it in. Now, that's okay to do it that way, and probably a lot of farms would do it that way. However, I feel personally that you lose your accuracy. And in losing your sort of accuracy on that, your tram lines might not be in the right place, or this, that, and everything else. And again, with CTF, it's not appropriate to be driving and creating sort of lines that you're not going to use. You want to be creating lines that you're going to use time and time and time and time again. So what I've done is I've come into the middle of the field, or roughly the middle of the field. I don't think it's exactly the middle of the field, but it doesn't matter. So you come into the middle and you get your AB line, which I've done already, and then all you do is drop your drill, and once you're in line, you then set the computer to tram line. So we're now going to just draw off, and we should be tram lining, and I'm going to go that way, the way that I'm looking now. So put the marker out, and that will mark that way. And then what we do is we draw all the way through the field. Now this has put a tram line in, so I don't know whether we'll be able to see over the back of the drill or not. No, we can't. But we've put a tram line. When we get the other end, we'll get out and have a look. We should be able to see it. Should have left a deep enough mark. We tram line all the way through the field, and then what we do is, this is our straight edge along the dikes, and then when we turn right, as we will do in this instance, because we're going to drill to the right hand side first, and then once we've drilled up that side, then we'll obviously go to the other side of this where we've drilled, and then we will and I'm using GPS, so I don't need to mark the other side, because as I say, I am using GPS. But yeah, we'll then go to the other side, to the left hand side if you like, and then we will drill from that way across. But if we just quickly get out, so as you can see, we've drilled through the centre. We've left our tram lines. Now we'll drill this way. We'll let the drill count up one, and basically what's going to happen is the drill's going to count across, and then the next set of tram lines, and then again, and then again. It's just like drawing from the dike outwards, but we've basically put a dike or a straight edge in the middle of the field. It's not, as I say, it's not exactly the middle of the field, but it doesn't really matter as such. Yeah, that's how we drill a field if if there isn't a straight edge, or if because we've got one or two fields where the edges of the fields are sort of all funny different shapes and what have you. The field isn't square at all, and there's no straight edge on that field. So that's how we would do it. We would basically drill the headland, drill straight through the middle, or draw a line somewhere across the field, tram line it, and then work backwards from that tram line that way, and then from that tram line we would then work backwards from that way back to the back out to the headland that we've already drilled, and that's how we do it. But anyway, I'm going to crack on, because as I say, I want to get these 3 fields done before nightfall, and I'll see you in the next update, when hopefully we should be sugar beet harvesting. We should be getting on with winter ploughing, and I will, if the sugar beet hasn't been done, then we'll be sugar beeting. If the sugar beet has been done, then we will I will probably be drilling winter wheat. And that's a variety called Skyfall, which is a milling wheat. So we'll be starting to drill that. And again, we're going to just stick with what we know. Some farms like to sort of drill 2, maybe 3 varieties of a crop, varieties of wheat or barley or whatever, and all that does is just to make sure that if one fails completely, or partly fails or whatever, you've got another couple of varieties that might well end up doing very well. But as it is at the moment, we've not really had any issues with the seeds that we use. We've been using Skyfall now for probably the last 10 years or so. We've not really, we've had peaks and troughs where the yield has dropped or whatever. Like this year, the yield was down massively, but given the year, you'd expect that. So we're not, we're not too sort of disheartened by that. But yeah, so that's what I'll be doing in the next episode, depending on where we're at. But as I say, thanks ever so much for watching this week's update on the farm, and tick and subscribe if you haven't done already. Amazingly, this is our probably 6th, 7th update, something like that, and we've already got 10 subscribers, so that is absolutely amazing and incredible. Hopefully by the time winter comes we'll be at about 50,000. But as I say, yeah, I'm not really too sure how you're ever supposed to end these videos, but as I say, tick and subscribe and thumbs up and bells and all that, and hopefully you'll have enjoyed this episode enough and enjoy this channel enough to join me again next time. But bye for now.